It's said that child prodigies are most often found in 3 areas: chess, math, and music. And you could make the argument that Billie Eilish is a musical prodigy because of her tremendous growth and accomplishment at such an early age. Her music has been described as ethereal and dreamlike, having one of the most beautifully haunting voices in modern music. And at the age of 18, she was the youngest person to win Album of the Year at the 2020 Grammys, winning awards for Best New Artist, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year. She's captured the attention of millions of people all around the world. Billie has redefined popular music, blending different styles and genres in a way that defies categories and in a way that connects very deeply with her audience. But how did she get here? This is the story of Billie Eilish and what her numbers tell us about her incredible rise to stardom. Billie was born in Los Angeles, California, and she grew up in an area called Highland Park. Even from a young age, she was surrounded by many creative influences in her family. Both of her parents were musicians. Her mother was a teacher, actress, and screenwriter. Her father was a construction worker who also worked as a part-time actor. And her older brother Phineas also showed impressive early signs of musical talent. He would write and produce his own songs, which he would perform with his band. And they would often sing together as a family. Billie was homeschooled, and her mother taught both children the basics of songwriting, introducing them to music like the Beatles. Billie thrived as her parents encouraged her to express herself and to explore a range of interests, including dancing, acting, and of course music. She would join the Los Angeles Children's Choir at the age of 8, in part because her brother joined it. She describes her older brother Phineas as her partner in making music, and their parents were so supportive that they would sleep in a futon in the living room of their home so that Billie and Phineas could have their own private space to record music together. Billie recalls the first real song they wrote together. While sitting in their room, her brother Phineas played some chords on the guitar, and she started improvising and singing along, making up lyrics as she went. This would eventually become the song Bellyache, which became a worldwide hit in 2017. All of this might seem like a disadvantage, but recording in a small space is exactly what made their music feel so intimate. Billie found her first breakthrough at the age of 13 after recording a song with her brother Phineas called Ocean Eyes. They uploaded it to the music sharing website SoundCloud. They woke up the next day to find that the song had been played more than 1,000 times. Billie describes how surreal this felt for her. It was really confusing. I didn't understand what was going on. I literally thought that my popular friend had reposted it, because at the time, I didn't even know 1,000 people. By November of 2016, they released a music video for Ocean Eyes, to much acclaim. But for Billie Eilish, her meteoric rise and success has not been without challenges, which becomes clear when we look at her numbers. Billie was born on December 18, 2001. This makes her a 6th life path. In numerology, the life path number represents the basic lesson that must be learned in order to find meaning and fulfillment in one's lifetime. The 6th life path is blessed with creativity, especially in the visual and performing arts, and especially with musical talent. We can see this in Billie's early life, where even as a child, she showed remarkable promise in a number of creative areas. She acted in plays and made her own homemade movies, which she would edit on her computer. She also learned to play the piano and the ukulele, mostly on her own. She started writing songs as early as 4 years old, including a song about falling into a black hole. She describes writing her very first quote-unquote real song at the age of 11 about the zombie apocalypse, which was inspired by the show The Walking Dead. Another indication of her early potential lies in the fact that she has something called synesthesia. People with synesthesia feel a mixture of different sensations, all at the same time. It's a joining of the senses. For example, when they hear words, they might feel each word as a different color, or when they listen to music, the sounds they hear might be combined with a visual spectacle of dancing shapes floating around them, or they might feel certain smells or tastes combined with the music. This might seem incredible to us, but for those with synesthesia, that's the only reality they know, and it's perfectly normal to them. There seems to be a real biological and genetic basis to synesthesia, and it often runs in families. They seem to have real brain differences, and they show more gray matter and white matter in certain areas of their brain. One theory is that we're all born with synesthesia and experience it as children, but we lose it as we get older. People with synesthesia also tend to gravitate to the arts. They're better at telling the difference between certain colors and sounds, which helps them as artists. There's some suggestion that many of the artists we find in history also had synesthesia, from Lady Gaga, Vladimir Nabokov, Duke Ellington, and Stevie Wonder. It's estimated that about 2 to 4% of the population has synesthesia. These influences may give Billie heightened perceptions and sensations that help in the creative process and with making new associations with different ideas. We can also see this, for example, in the way that Billie describes her song, Zanny. The day we wrote Zanny, we wanted it to sound like what it feels like to be in secondhand smoke. If you listen to the song, it feels uncomfortable. We distorted the vocals. It's like a white silk curtain that's just flowing around. It sounds like a headache. The verses are what smoke looks like, and the chorus is what it feels like. So the song Zanny is an attempt to capture the feeling of isolation and loneliness you feel when you're the only sober person in the room. It's also in the nature of the sixth life path to take on responsibility, to fill the void that's left by others, which can lead to emotional turmoil. One of the ways we can see this is that Billie has been open about her struggles with feelings of depression. She describes being on tour in Berlin and thinking about jumping out from the window in her hotel room. She also recalls feeling so unhappy, feeling so joyless, that she didn't think she'd make it to age 17. One of the lines in her song, Bury a Friend, was about herself when she sings the line, "I want to end me." It also highlights the vulnerability and honesty in her songs. A big part of the sixth life path is a strong sense of compassion and being a natural caretaker for the people they love. In many ways, the sixth life path is also the protector of those in need and seeks to give a voice to those who can't speak for themselves. One of the ways we see this is in Billie's commitment to social causes, like animal rights. In one interview, she describes having a natural affinity for animals. "Horses are one of the only things that bring me peace, so I try to be around them as much as I can, because it calms me." She also grew up riding horses as a child, and she worked at a barn for 2 years in exchange for riding lessons. Billie has also spoken out against animal cruelty. There was a time she shared undercover footage from a dairy farm in Indiana, which supplied many large food companies. The footage showed farm workers punching, pushing, and throwing baby cows who had been separated from their mothers. The video showed that if an animal resisted feedings, then they were physically beaten. Billie is also a vegan, and we can see her commitment to animal rights in her collaborations in the fashion world, where she supports clothing that's vegan and gender neutral. Her commitment to social issues has also led to her sharing her own experience of living with Tourette's syndrome. Tourette's is something she's lived with her whole life, but early on in her career, she didn't mention it because she didn't want it to define who she was, and she didn't want to invite the label that she was the artist with Tourette's. But after publicly sharing that she has Tourette's, she's learned that many of her fans also have it, which is something that's made her more at home with revealing this side of herself. This sense of genuine authenticity also helps connect her with her audience, and it's elicited comments like these. The second factor in her numerology chart is what's called the expression number, which is based on her name. But her full name, according to Wikipedia, is Billie Eilish Pirate Baird O'Connell. This gives her a 7 expression number. Those with the 7 expression number are seekers of wisdom and spiritual understanding. They're deeply curious about the world, and they question many of the things that most people take for granted. It's also important for those with the 7 expression number to do what they find meaningful and creatively inspiring. We can see this in the way that Billie describes her relationship with fame. She says that many people want to be famous just to be famous, but I want to create things that people can feel. For me, fame is irrelevant. I don't want to make money if it means being something that I don't want to be. If you don't know what you want, once people make demands on you and you take those opportunities, you can end up turning into something that you were never meant to become. This has given her the ability to walk away from projects if it's not consistent with who she wants to be. One of the toughest challenges for the 7 expression number is working to make their visions a reality, to create the things they see in their minds. Those with the 7 expression number also highly value their privacy and personal space. They need the freedom to work through their ideas without being interrupted by other people. Because of this, it can be hard for them to maintain intimate relationships with others. Billie has been notoriously private about her personal life, but she's expressed in some interviews that people have done some terrible things to me. I've never felt powerful in a relationship. People with a 7 expression number also have to guard against the risk of becoming too withdrawn and isolated from the people they care about. Too much isolation can shut them off from the rest of the world. They benefit most by finding ways to hang on to their independence without being alienated from others. They have enormous opportunities for growth and success, but the key to that success will be the ability to maintain the necessary balance in their lives. There's an interesting interplay between the 6 life path and the 7 expression number in Billie's chart. The 7 expression number goes out into the world where they learn difficult and often painful lessons, but through this process, they gain tremendous wisdom and insight, and the 6 life path shares those lessons with others. It uses those lessons to help ease the burdens of other people so that they don't have to go through the same pain and suffering. This interplay helps explain the combination of creativity and social consciousness that we find in Billie's work. It's important to note that the life path and the expression number are just 2 pieces of a person's overall numerology chart, and this video only reveals a tiny snapshot of that profile. If you'd like to see more content like this, please like the video. It helps me to bring more content like this to you. As always, thanks for watching, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.